everybody, and a very warm welcome to LMT YouTube channel.
Prince Harry returns home to Montecito to reunite with pregnant Meghan and Archie after solo appearance at Prince Philip's funeral in London. It looks as though Prince Harry has returned to the US to reunite with pregnant wife Meghan and their 2-year-old son Archie. The royal is believed to have flown into Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, on an American Airlines flight that arrived in Los Angeles shortly after 1:30 p.m. local time. His car was seen leaving the private terminal at LAX minutes after the plane landed and was spotted again arriving in Montecito at around 4 p.m. Harry's return to the U.S. means he will miss the Queen's 95th birthday tomorrow. She remains in mourning following the death of Prince Philip, but will resume official duties on Friday. Prince Charles will also miss the Queen's birthday and is at his home in Wales. Prince William is also not expected to visit her on her big day. Harry had been widely reported to have been planning to stay for the Queen's birthday, although sources said he was conflicted about the decision and wanted to get home to Meghan. He had flown into the UK on an American Airlines flight just over a week ago and spent most of his British trip in quarantine at Frogmore Cottage in Windsor. Father of one, Harry will now begin a second 10-day quarantine, a requirement for international travelers journeying to the US, although it is not mandatory unlike in the UK. CDC guidelines recommend travelers get a COVID-19 test prior to departure and self-isolate for 10 days after they return. California also has its own travel advisory, with visitors and residents required to fill in a form that includes their contact details on arrival at LAX. The Los Angeles guidelines also say travelers should quarantine, although that advice includes exemptions for those traveling for work or for urgent family matters. Harry's brief visit to the UK for the funeral of the Duke of Edinburgh was his first trip back to Britain in a year. Pregnant Meghan, who is expecting a baby girl in the summer, was told not to travel with him, but did send a handwritten note and a wreath. The trip also marked the first time he has seen his family since making explosive allegations about royal racism during an interview with Oprah last month, and claiming his father and brother are trapped in the system. Harry received a frosty reception when he appeared at Philip's funeral on Saturday and was largely ignored by senior royals, among them Princess Anne and the Earl and Countess of Wessex. His presence also caused problems for courtiers, although the Duke of Edinburgh had wanted military uniform to be worn for his funeral. Harry is not entitled to wear it, having given up his military roles as part of the Megxit deal. He reportedly texted with his father and brother beforehand but didn't see them in person until shortly before the service began. Although William and Harry's interactions initially looked frosty, they were pictured chatting together after the service as they made their way back to the castle. Prince Charles and his two sons are then reported to have spent 3 hours clearing the air immediately after the funeral. Harry is due to return to the UK again at the end of July for the unveiling of a memorial to his mother, Princess Diana.
Another analysis.
The thing Harry did differently from his family at the funeral. The death of Prince Philip, tragic though it was, even at his advanced age, came at a particularly awkward moment for the British royal family. A little over a year ago, Philip's grandson Harry made the decision to resign from his duties as a royal. Well, despite Harry's sinking popularity in Britain since the bombshell interview with Oprah, he nevertheless did the right thing by returning to the UK for his grandfather's funeral. How could he, after all, desert the man who'd walked at his side when he had to follow his own mother's casket through the streets of London at the tender age of 12? Needless to say, Prince Harry may have been feeling some complicated emotions upon his return. The LMT channel spoke with two body language experts, certified movement analyst and public speaking coach Robin Coney, and life coach, relationship expert Nicole Moore, to get their take on the prince's actions at the funeral and what they may have to tell us about his new role in the family. Harry's upper lip isn't so stiff. Coney spoke of the funeral procession itself as feeling almost choreographed as family members fell into line. While almost everyone kept their eyes either straight ahead, on the Land Rover bearing Prince Philip's casket, or else cast down to show proper reverence for the solemn occasion, Coney noticed that occasionally Harry's gaze seemed to drift to the right toward Prince Charles and at times Prince William. Moore also noted how Prince Harry's eyes had a different tale to tell than that of traditional British restraint. She pointed to a very telling moment during the funeral procession, where Harry's body language broke from those around him, saying this occurred when he looked up into the sky longingly, almost as if he was looking for some sort of direction. She wonders if perhaps in that moment he was thinking of his mother Diana, which does seem likely as she's been much on the mind of both Harry and his brother William as of late. Moore thinks this skyward glance may speak of his desire, at times, to escape from the demands of royal life and the emotions and tension of the funeral. Well, the funeral is over now, and Prince Harry will likely be flying back home pretty soon, but it's to be hoped that he's made some small steps toward reconciliation with the rest of the royal family, as perhaps only that will bring him the peace he seems to long for. What the royals conveyed through their actions. Throughout the funeral, the body language of other royal family members also revealed their own hidden truths, during a decidedly difficult time for all. Body language expert Judy James said that Queen Elizabeth II's body language during the earlier moments of her husband's funeral spoke to the overwhelming grief she felt that day. Kate Middleton, meanwhile, said to have been a pillar of strength for Prince William throughout his feud with Prince Harry, seemed to be at times looking over at her brother-in-law during the service. Body language expert Believing Bruce told LMT Channel that it's difficult to know exactly what the Duchess was thinking, but said that it must have been a certain type of powerful emotion, including even a look of motherly concern, as Harry was sitting apart. Following the funeral, Kate as family peacemaker emerged, the first to engage Prince Harry in conversation, and by doing so, bring him a step closer to his brother. The royal mediator of sorts began what seemed like an animated chat with Harry after the royals exited St. George's Chapel. Then, as her husband joined them, Kate hung back from the pair to allow the brothers a private moment to speak. As Bruce told LMT Channel, this move is one that the threesome had done in the past, and provides at least a glimmer of hope that their strained relationship can once again be as strong as it was before the royal saga of drama began.
Another report.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are reportedly living like Princess Diana did during her final years. Prince Harry and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, stepped down from their roles as senior royals in early 2020. The couple has since moved to California and is trying to establish a life away from the royal family. What Harry and Meghan is doing might be considered unusual for some people. However, interestingly, Princess Diana's former secretary is now comparing Harry and Meghan's new life to the one Diana had before she passed away. How did Princess Diana spend her final years? Diana died in 1997 after a car crash in Paris. In the years leading up to her death, Diana spent her life as a divorcee. She and Prince Charles separated in 1992 and officially divorced in 1996. Diana subsequently dated other men, including Dodi Al-Fayed, who later died with her in the car crash. Although Diana cut some ties with the royal family, she still carried on with the humanitarian work she did as a full-time royal. For example, she continued working with AIDS and leprosy patients and organizations that focused on clearing landmines in developing countries. Why is Prince Harry and Meghan Markle being compared to Princess Diana? According to Diana's former secretary, Patrick Jeffson, the late princess also created closer ties with ultra-wealthy and influential people, especially since she could no longer rely on the royal family as much as before. Jeffson said in an article, "Once outside the royal fold, Diana would increasingly rely on billionaires for jets and bodyguards for photo opportunities and speech platforms. People whose agendas and publicity instincts began and ended with their own interests." Jeffson made comparisons to Harry, who, along with Meghan, is venturing into Hollywood and making friends with the rich and famous of Los Angeles. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are advised to not lose touch with everyday people. Unlike celebrities, royals are expected to serve the public, not themselves. With Harry becoming more connected to the celebrity world, Jeffson also noted how important it is that he and Meghan do not lose touch with average folks. Jeffson said, "As perhaps her younger son Harry has discovered, you can escape the palace, but finding relevance and respect as just another celebrity is much, much harder. So much easier to take the shortcut, keep lawyers and PR wizards on retainer, and preach platitudes to the unenlightened masses. Pretty soon, you have crossed the line from setting a good example, all a member of the royal family really has to do, to setting yourself up as an expert in public policy without the trouble of winning an election." Jeffson added, "It's surely not what conscientious princes and dukes and duchesses intend, but it's the risk they run when they lose touch with real people's everyday concerns, when their personal enthusiasms take priority over the much less glamorous traditional royal work of healing and encouraging that needs to be done every day."
Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more LMT videos about your favorite stuff. For coming soon, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.
Stop.